What's up, y'all, man? It's another episode of Life with DK. Do you hear me? Listen, so, man, I want to talk to y'all about three main components that you need in order to have a successful relationship while you are in college. And don't get me wrong, it's not just about college. I'm not just talking to college students, but I'm talking to high school students, middle school students as well. And I'm going to start off with the first component that you need in order to, establish a concrete relationship with God. The first component I want to talk to you about is being intentional, being very intentional about what you do and how you live your life. Because think about this: it's not a millionaire alive that just wished his way to being a millionaire. No, that individual was very intentional about his steps towards being a millionaire. So with your relationship with God, while you are in college, you have to be very intentional, step by step. You have to make up in your mind. You have to make up in your mind. It starts in your mind. Before it gets in your life, it starts in your mind. So you have to make up your mind and say, you know what? For God I live, for God I die. You get what I'm saying? For God I live, and for God I will die. So you have to make up your mind and say, you know what? I am going to serve God no matter what. I'm going to stand for God no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be willing. You have to be willing to lose all your friends. You have to be willing to lose everything, to give up everything, you know what I'm saying, in order to have a relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? Because there are going to be times in college, man, that there's going to be peer pressure. There's going to be times when there's a current, there's a lifestyle in college. And you can easily flow with that current. You can easily, like I said, flow with that current. But that's when it comes down to the core being of who you are as an individual, who you are as a man of God, who you are as a woman of God in college. In your core being, and you have to build your core up. You have to build your core up so you can stand against those currents, because there's a lot of currents. Because let me tell you something, there's a lot of things, a lot of distractions in college. That's a current. That's a current that can drift you away. But you have to build that core up so you can stand against that current when those temptations come. You get what I'm saying? So that leads me to the second component that you need to have. The second component you need to have is the fact that you have to spend quality time with God. You have to spend quality time with God. And don't give me no excuse that I can't spend time, I'm too busy. Listen, there was a time in my college, when I was in college, man, I had two jobs. I was a full-time, I was taking 16 hours in school. I was playing on the football team. I had a Bible study on campus. So I had all these different things going on, but I still made time for God, man. There was times, y'all, I would sit in my car, and I would just pray. I would go to a local park down the road or whatever, and I would just sit in my car and I would just pray. I would always make time for God. That's the thing about it. Make time for God. You gotta create time for God. You gotta create time for God. If you don't create time for God, your core won't be strong. Your core won't be strong to stand against those currents. Remember the first component I was telling you about? You have to be intentional, right? So what I'm saying is you have to build up that core. You have to build up your core. If you don't build up that core, then you're not going to be able to be successful. So build that core up. And how you build that core up is about you spending quality time with God, spending time with God, praying, fasting. Let me tell you something. Fast, you don't just, when you fast, you don't have to say, well, damn, the only way I can fast is just giving up food. But just give up something that's close to you, that's attached to you at that moment. You know, it could be social media. Just learn how to fast, learn how to kill that flesh so you'll be able to build that core up so you can stand against those currents. You can do it, and I believe you will do it. I have faith in you that you can do it. It's possible that you can do it, and God will reward you. God will reward you for standing on his word. Standing on his word. Because let me tell you something. You have to be willing to lose in the sight of man in order to win in the sight of God. Y'all, in the sight of man, I look like a fool sometimes. In the sight of those college students, I look like a fool, man. I would look like a fool, but I was willing to look like a fool for the glory of God. You got to be willing to look like a fool. You have to. You have to listen, let me tell you something. There was time, you're not going to always feel confident. You're not going to always feel strong. There was times I felt fear. There was times I felt like, Lord God, man, I'm not feeling it. But it's not about how you feel. It's about truth. It's about your core. It's about knowing that God is for you. It's about knowing that you're strong, even when you don't feel strong at times. You know what I'm saying? Because in college, you're not going to always feel strong. But it's about you knowing that God is with you. It's about you knowing that God can handle whatever situation that you're up against. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is you have to be willing to lose in the sight of man in order to win in the eye of God. Forget what they say, man. You know, I remember, y'all, when I first went to college, we had a talent show. And everybody, you could get up and you can do whatever at this talent show. I mean, you can shoot, you can do whatever, you know. And I say, you know what, at this talent show, I am gonna spread. I'm just gonna talk about God. You know what I'm saying? And y'all, it was number football players there because we had a team talent show. And I got up there, y'all, man, and I was just talking about God and just talking about, you know, what God has done for me in my life and stuff like that. And let me tell you something, man. And I heard people laughing and stuff like that and all that stuff like that, man. But I continued on. So it don't matter about how people judge you or how people view you. I gave that example to show you that, listen, I was willing to lose in the sight of those football players in order to win in the sight of God. Lose in everybody else's sight. Lose in everybody else's sight. But win in God's sight. Win in God's sight. Lose in everybody else's sight. But win in God's sight. So the first component is be intentional, right? Be intentional. You gotta make your mind up. You want to serve God. You gotta tell you, nah, I ain't going to this party. No, I don't want to go to this party. No, I don't want to go here. Be intentional. Second thing, what I said, make sure you spend time with God. That's the second component. Make sure you spend time with God. Spend quality time with God, right? The third component, man, is this. It's to have fun, man. It's just to enjoy yourself. Enjoy the journey that you are on. Enjoy the journey that you're on. Whatever journey God got you on, as far as if you're single in college, or if you are in a relationship with God in college, or whatever journey, whatever season you are in while you are in college, enjoy it. You can have fun in college without partying, without drinking. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do those things to have fun. But just enjoy the journey, man. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. And that wraps it up, man. That wraps it up. I have nothing else to say but to say, man, stay strong. I believe that you can do it. I know that you can do it. I know that you can stand for God while you are in college. You get what I'm saying? I've done it. I'm a living testimony. So if I can do it, you can do it. And I'm out, y'all. Y'all be blessed.